Assalamu alaikum everybody. I am Dr. Shahid Kokar and this is lecture 18 of the subject Operations and Supply Chain Management. As you know, we are discussing about the process strategy and analysis, which is the chapter 2 of our textbook. And in this lecture, we will talk about the process strategy decisions. If you remember the figure of 2.1 in the first lecture of this chapter, where we have seen what are the steps we should consider before taking a effective process. So in that figure we have seen there are four major decisions which we need to consider, and the first one was the process structure. We have already talked about the process structure of services industries and the process structure of manufacturing industries. In this lecture we will talk about the other three decisions which we need to consider before formulating the effective process design. So let's go into the detail of this lecture. As you can see in your slides, that this lecture is talking about the process strategy decisions, and we will talk about customer involvement, resource flexibility, and the capital intensity. So we will discuss all these three concepts one by one. Let's start with the customer involvement. So first of all, you should be clear what does it mean by the customer involvement. It means the interaction of the customer in the process, that to which extent the customer would be involved in performing the process. So there are certain disadvantages and advantages of this approach, that if you involve the customer, so what are the advantages we can see here in the slide, but there are also certain disadvantages if we involve the customers too much in the process. So let's discuss first the advantages of the customer involvement. As you can see in the slide, he's talking about the first one is increased net value to the customer. It means customer can have a better or the greater value if he is involved in the process. So he can give his input, that what kind of the product or services he is looking for. So based on that, the value which the customer will receive will be higher if he will be involved in the greater extent. Similarly, he is talking about that customer involvement leads to the better quality, faster delivery, greater flexibility, and the lower cost. How you can make this argument, that if a customer is involved in the process, obviously he can give you the better expectations of the customer, and based on those expectations you can deliver the commodities to him, so he will be having a better quality. Similarly, if a customer is involved in the process, you can deliver the goods efficiently and faster, and similarly you can provide him greater flexibility at the lower cost. Moreover, he is talking about if you involve the customer, there is a reduction in product shipping and inventory cost. Like if customer is involved in the process, by means you can reduce the cost of shipping and inventory. The very best example of this concept is in the online business. When a customer is buying anything which he needs to assemble at home, in that manner, for example, if you are buying a bicycle from online platform, or you are buying a ready to assemble furniture from the online platform. If a customer is involved in the process, it means he is doing assembling by himself, and in that manner the company can reduce his shipping, inventory and the product cost. Similarly, if a customer is involved, a company can manage its supply chain better. How? Because customer will be giving a constant feedback to the company, and that feedback will be transmitted to the suppliers. For example, if you talk about any cash and carry Metro Macro or any Walmart store, where they are constantly transmitting the customer data about his preferences to the suppliers, so that they can effectively manage the supply chains. Now let's talk about the disadvantages of the customer involvement. Here he is talking about that if you involve the customer too much, it can be disruptive for the processes. When a customer is not very well educated and he is not clear about his preferences, in that scenario, customer involvement can be disruptive. Similarly, he is talking about that managing timing and volume can be challenging, that if you are involving the customer in the process too much, it is difficult for the company to deliver the goods or services in time, and it becomes difficult for the company to meet the changing volume demands of the customers. Moreover, he is talking about quality measurements can be difficult, like if customer is too much involved in your processes, then you are supposed to be extra cautious that customer is not knowing any weak point about your organization. Moreover, he is talking about it requires interpersonal skills. If you are involving the customer, the sales staff of the organization needs to have a better interpersonal skills which can satisfy the customer requirement. And the last disadvantage he is talking about is multiple locations may be necessary if you are involving the customer in the process. So you are supposed to deliver the product or service at the varied or the different locations in order to satisfy the customer. Whereas the customer involvement is not very high, you can manufacture the goods at a centralized location and then distribute it to the customer. So these are the disadvantages or the possible disadvantages which a customer involvement can have. So before formulating a process, a company should consider how much involvement they can allow the customer can have in the process. Moving on, he is talking about the resource flexibility. It means before designing an effective process, you should consider the flexibility of the resources which you have. A company usually have two kind of resources, one in the form of the workforce and second in the form of the equipment. So here he is talking about that workforce flexibility means that you have the flexible workforce. It means that if a company is dealing with the varied or the changing demand by the customer, then they are supposed to have the flexible workforce. Like many organizations sell the products in a seasonal way or in a cyclical way, and in that manner, if they have the flexible workforce, obviously that will be a more advantageous to the company. Whereas the demand of the customer is steady and stable, in that scenario the company should go for the fixed workforce. Another thing he is talking about is the equipment which you are using, either it would be general purpose or either it would be a special purpose. So general purpose means with the same equipment you are tackling more variety of the customer's demands. and special purpose means they are inflexible. You are dealing with the specific kind of the customers. So here he is talking about that a company should consider either they should go for the general purpose equipment or a special purpose equipment, and that decision will depend upon the customization required by the customer and the volume which a company is producing for the goods and the services to the customer. There is a figure on the right side of this slide where he is talking about that in certain scenarios company should choose a general purpose, and in certain scenarios company should choose a special purpose equipment. And as you can see in your slide, there is a graph. On the horizontal axis he is talking about the units per year or the quantity which the company will produce in 1 year. On the vertical axis he is talking about the total cost in dollars, and this green line is showing the cost or the total cost of if you are dealing with a general purpose equipment, and this red line is showing if you are dealing with a special purpose equipment. In this diagram he is talking about the break even quantity will be there at a point when these two costs are the equal. So he is saying that in a general purpose equipment your initial fixed cost, which is F1, would be lower, and your total cost will increase as you are producing the goods and services. Whereas in special purpose the fixed cost or the of special purpose equipment will be higher, and the total cost will be start increasing as you start producing more goods and services. So here he is talking about if a company is expecting low volumes, it means they should go for this general purpose equipment because the fixed cost is lower. If a company is expecting a higher volume, then they should go for the second approach, which is the special purpose equipment. So these two things which he is talking about is actually will determine in designing the process. Moving on, he has here given you a simple example where he wants to show the quantity, which is the break-even quantity, which we have discussed in the last slide, and how you will calculate that quantity. As you know, we said that quantity will be at the point when the special purpose equipment and the fixed purpose equipment would have the same quantity. That would be the break-even quantity. So here he is talking about there is a company, BBC, is deciding whether to wield bicycle frames manually or to purchase a welding robot. If welding manually, investment cost for equipment are only $10,000. The per unit cost of manually welding a bicycle frame is $50 per frame. On the other hand, a robot capable of performing the same work costs $400,000, and robot operating costs including support labor are $50 per frame. So in simple words, he is talking about your company has two options. First, where they will weld the frames manually and the fixed cost would be $10,000 and the variable cost would be $50,000. In another scenario where the company can purchase a robot and buying a robot will include $400,000 and the variable cost would be $20. So he wants to know at what quantity these both costs could be equal, and as you can see in your slide, there is a formula where he is subtracting the fixed cost of manually welded minus the fixed cost of robotic welding option, and then he's subtracting the variable cost of the manually welded option minus the variable cost of the robotic. So if you divide all these figures, the answer would be 13,000 frames. So 13,000 frame is the quantity where a company will have both the costs equal. So that is the idea of this example. Moving on, he is talking about the third component which a company should needs to consider while making a decision about the process design, and he is talking about the capital intensity. Capital intensity means it's a ratio between the labor which you are using and the machines which you are using. If you are using more machines and less labor, it means the capital intensity is higher, whereas if you are using more labor and the less machines, then the capital intensity would be lower. So here he is talking about, in capital intensity, what are the things you need to consider before designing a process. First thing he is talking about the automation or the automating the manufacturing process, and then he is talking about automating the services process, and then he will talk about the economies of scope. So first, let's see what does it mean by the automating manufacturing process. Usually we assume that if we use the automation, you can reduce the per unit cost, and with the help of the automation, obviously you can also control the quality. Here he is talking about there are two kinds of the automation which a company can have. First one is called the fixed automation, and second one is called the flexible automation. Fixed automation means when you cannot change the automatic process and you don't have too many options for changing the automation process, that is called the fixed automation. He is saying that a company should go for the fixed automation if they have large volumes and they have less variety or the less customization required by the consumer. And you can go for the flexible or the programmable automation where the quantity is not very high, but customer is requiring the more customization requirements from the company. So here he is talking about the best example of the flexible or automation is the industrial robots, which can do a varied kind of jobs with the specific requirements of the customers. Similarly, he is talking about you can think about automating the services, and services automation also consider the volume which a company is dealing with. So if a company is dealing with a large volume, then they can choose for the automating services. And in nowadays, as you can see, with the help of technology, you can automate many services. The best example through which we are dealing nowadays, that you are using technology to educate students, and you are trying to automate the teaching services as compared to the traditional method, which is brick and mortar model. So here he is talking about that a company can consider automating services if they are dealing with the more volume and less customization. Moving on, he is talking about the economies of scope, and आप लोगों ने economies of scale का concept जो है वो सुना होगा. It's very simple that if a company is producing large number of goods, then the per unit cost will be decreased, and through which you are able to sell the products to the customers at a cheaper price. That is the concept of the economies of scale. But here he is talking about the economies of scope, and economies of scope is saying that if you produce different kinds of products, then the per unit cost can be decreased, rather you are producing only single kind of the product. The best example of economies of scale could be that if a shoemaking company that is already producing a men's shoes and women's shoes, but if they add the children's shoes in that line, then the three different kinds of shoes definitely can reduce the cost of production by increasing a third option. So economies of scope is telling you that if you increase the product line, then your per unit cost can be reduced. So here he is talking about a company should consider these economies of scope or automating manufacturing and services processes, considering that either they are dealing with a high volume or either they are dealing with the more customization. Hopefully आप लोगों को ये lecture जो है ये समझ आया होगा. If you have any question about this lecture, you can make a comment on the Google Classroom, or you can consult with your co-teacher for a better understanding. That's all for this lecture. See you on the next time.